Okay. Okay. So I'm back with the second part of the lecture on Arvind Adiga's The White Tiger. See, in the last part, we have covered the background of the work, what it is about, and basically the character of Balaram Halwai. Now we come to the second part where I shall be dealing with the themes and techniques that have been used by Arvind Adiga. And at the same time, we shall be also talking about what are the hints that he's trying to give us through this work. What is he trying to actually say? And what is the type of response that he wants to elicit from his audience? So basically, when you're talking about Arvind Adiga, these are the main themes. And let me tell you one more thing, that the work is so multi-layered, and there's so many commands and so much that is happening in the text that many other themes might also be discovered by a researcher. The work has got a lot of critical attention, and lots of PhD works are being done on it because it is talking about contemporary India. It is talking about an India that we all know that we are so much a part of. So these are the main themes. The first is contemporary India, and then you have poverty, corruption, right from the top to the bottom rung. These are all matters of grave concern for Adiga and for all of us. Socioeconomic disparities. So the images he uses of light and darkness, escape and freedom, failure of governance, law, order, all culture theories, breakdown of social order, globalization and urbanization, violence and crime, moral degeneration, provoke answers to the terrible state of India today. So now I shall be going into many of these in detail, all these topics that I have just discovered. So here are a few images. Let me tell you that they have been taken from the internet. These are sites of the poverty in contemporary India, one of the major themes. And these are sites that we see every day. Nobody can say that they have not seen such a scene. We are all quite used to seeing the images of poverty in our country. Here's another image, the life of scholar, begging. And at the background, you have the flats, the skyscrapers, talking of another India. Inequality in global India. So here are some images again. You've got malls, you've got skyscrapers, you've got buildings that house all the top economic concerns of the world, offices of those, high-tech buildings, software industry, hardware industries, and all those things. And on the other hand, you have the slums, the sorrow, the hunger of living at a very, living in a society that does not care, and that does not allow social mobility. There's another image, and these are certain details that all has been taken from the internet. Just to give you a visual look of it, I have included these slides just to make you aware and conscious. It's not that you're not conscious, because as students, you are also seeing all these things. But you must just imagine, visualize, because this is what the white tiger is about. The white tiger, some of the major themes. One is the identity. Now, identity is not destiny. That whatever name you're born with, that's going to be a destiny. It's not by birth, neither by chance. Especially here, it can be identities by choice. Here, it has been carved by brutality. What you become, what you make of yourself is yours, your choice. You make your identity, you make your destiny, you carve it. Here, it has been carved by brutality, by the murder that Balram commits. Identity is responsibility, not here. And when he's talking about these themes, he's also talking about the millions of others who are the same. Have carved out an identity, but will not take the responsibility of that identity. Now, poverty is one of the most important themes of the work. Poverty is its own penalty. It's a punishment, own penalty that is viewed in the text. Darkness, suffering, hunger, dirt, life in dirt. It's a subhuman life, that of an underdog. If you recall, there was a movie, Slumdog Millionaire. A lot of criticism had gone into the word, why the word slumdog has been used. But there is a section of society in our country whose lives are worse than dogs. Subhuman life, not a human life. Humanity deprived of dignity. Humanity deprived of dignity of being a human being. As a subhuman life. So the novel becomes very, very disturbing. As you go through it, you are disturbed because these major themes, these concerns keep on hitting you and hitting you hard. The poor are fooled, exploited, and oppressed. Throughout the work, you have Balram Alvai talking and giving you so many examples of how they are oppressed. And he calls them the people from the darkness. He says that he could recognize others. He was also from the darkness, he says. He could understand that these are from the darkness and these others are from the seething bitterness that is caused by poverty. Poverty causing these traits. Disturbing inequalities. The inequalities of society in India today is seen in the novel, whether it is social, cultural, political, economic. At all levels, there's a lot of inequality. Cultures also, cultural roots. We all know that in India, there's so many cultural roots. How we are divided on lines of caste and class. Basically, class is about the economic class. Many, many levels of class are there, but the majority are poor. Poverty is a very, very important issue today. And this inequality becomes very oppressive. What we feel is Balram is an outcome. He has been shaped by the real conditions in which he is living in India today. And therefore, we can understand what he's going through. And the candid voice that he has used, the narrative voice, is again something that we can understand. It is spontaneous, it's flowing, angry, bitter. And whatever he says, you can relate to. Then you have rich and poor, the weak and the powerful, urban and rural. There's lots of difference between the urban life and the rural life. And Adiga, by painting, by setting the novel first in Lakshmangara village on the banks of the Ganga, and then Dhanbad, and then the locale shifts to New Delhi, that is the capital city of India, and he has got lots and lots of things to say about Delhi, what's happening over there, the major roads and the side roads, the malls and the small markets, the roadside dwellers, the people living under the bridges, hungry, homeless. Those images also there. This inequality is there, and on the other side, huge houses, and a completely different, glittering world on one side, and on the other side, a dark. And therefore, throughout, he keeps on talking about people from in the light and in those in the darkness. And because he's in the darkness, his only craving is that he has to go to. Then there's inequality of opportunity in education, employment. This we all are quite aware of. Balram is pulled out of his school, because he has to earn for the dowry. Dowry system still there, and the poor have to give the dowry. Otherwise, the daughter of the family will not be wed, and that will be again a stigma on the family. If there's a daughter who's not getting married, and those who the family cannot provide a dowry to get her married, so that also becomes a stigma. And so he's pulled out of school, and he has to start working in a tea shop. Employment issues are there. There's so many. Those who are unemployed are the poor, and those are the people who are living under the bridges, in slums, on the roads. Inequality in health, hygiene, education, housing system. Very openly, he talks about the hospitals, the government hospital. There's a very disturbing scene in the novel where his father dies in the corridors of a government hospital, waiting for treatment, a treatment that will not come. So, and on the other hand, he sees that the rich go to a hospital that is as good as a five-star hotel, whether it's the government school or a private school. World of difference. So hygiene, health, education, and the housing system, of course. In all these things, there is a lot of inequality. And this is what is highlighted throughout the work in the voice of Balram Halwai. So he's very, very observant. I was talking about him in the last video. He's very observant. He keeps on listening to the news. He keeps on listening even to the news and all to the declarations of the leaders of the country, that such and such is going to be given to the poor. This is what is going to be done. So many crores, so much is going to be spent. He listens, and he knows that it does not actually materialize. He is at the receiving end of a system that has no empathy for the poor. And Balram Halwai is the product of the system. Another theme that he brings out is the servility, servile, servant mentality. He tries to say that the inhabitants of the darkness are marginalized. You don't want to look at the slum as you're sitting in your car. You look the other way. You'd rather look at the mall on the other side of the road than look at the slum. So they are living in the margins, ostracized inhabitants of the darkness. And the system is such that there is a prohibition. Upward social mobility is very, very difficult to gain. And what do we see? He has committed murder for upward social mobility. So what is the system? System has to allow social mobility upward. One can move upward, improve his lot, live a better life, get better health, better education. So all these are things. And servant mentality. He says that servant-master relations is also very, very complex in our country. The servant, he'll adore his master also, even though he's oppressed by him. There's an instance in the story where his master tells him that he has dropped a coin. He dropped a coin, and he better look in the car for it. And this Balram keeps on looking for it, and does not find it because there is no coin. The master meanly just said that there is no coin, and ultimately the driver, that is Balram, takes out a coin from his own wallet and says that here, okay, I have found it. So this sort of situation is there. At one part, So when I was talking about the dualities in his character, at times he likes him, at times he hates him, but he knows that he has to serve. He says in one part of the novel that uh, the common man, many when you give them, entrust them with a lot of money, the businessman will be sending crores of rupees or whatever to different destinations. The servant faithfully goes and gives that amount. At one point, he says that if you find a common man in India might find a bag of money, he'll go and give it to the police, because he's honest. He'll feel that no, I have to give this. This is not mine, he's part of the darkness. He stays there, he'll not be taking that money for himself. And of course, he laughs at it. Balram laughs at it. He says that he'll go and he'll give it to the police station. Of course, whether the police station will actually return. He said that I can try it. Anybody can try it. That you leave a bag of money somewhere, and then whether it will be returned to him. Police will keep it, but they won't give it back to the owner. But the honest person, the poor person, might just pick up the bag and give it to the police. And there are instances that these things are happening. So this is that servant mentality that he talks about. And they're forced to be servile, forced to be loyal. The masters, they manage to hold, control the servant. And it's the burden of tradition, culture, and caste system. Again, these burdens are there. As a very old society, and this burden of tradition. You'll have certain families that the entire family has been living and serving a particular rich family. They do not leave. They are happy, content in just serving a one family. And after the father, the son, or the wife, and everybody will be serving in one household. That burden is there. That okay, now we're loyal is there, so we'll be staying over here. Caste system has got its own role to play. The lower castes are supposed to, not raise their heads, not raise their voices. He raises this question, is this an aftermath of colonial dominance, alien rule, years together, suffering dominance by an alien rule? Is this the culture that has come into Indians as such? Have we not been able to get rid of this culture of allowing to be dominated? Balram Halwai is not going to tolerate it. The means he employs are wrong. But the end objective, of moving upward in society, attaining his dreams, that is every man's right. And Balram, takes that right. Of course, the murder part is not good. It's gruesome, harmful, disturbing. Now, another area that Adiga dwells on is globalization and urbanization, the urban culture. We all keep on hearing of, the people in the villages, the influx of people coming towards the cities because they are not happy in the villages. The yield does not suffice. The glitter of a city is there. Freedom is there. They're free from the village culture. And they manage to earn. They manage to carve an identity where instead where in a village they'll be, living in a setup, a joint family setup where one has to just, comply by the rules. And therefore coming towards the city. And globalization has, of course, given many opportunities also to people. And at different levels, they are able to earn more than what they would have in the village. And because of this, the way farming is also done in our villages, subsistence farming, they are not able. It is not sufficient. It is not enough. It is not at all profitable. And therefore, moving towards this urbanization is taking place, globalization is taking place. And then you have the mall culture. That's another culture that he talks about. The concepts of shining India, rising India, these are spoken of in the news. India is shining, we're doing so well. And Balram listens to all this on the news. He hears it, before the elections. Here are the politicians, that they'll be declaring that this is what you're going to do and this and that. And Adiga has, really spoken a lot against politicians in his work through the belligerent voice of Balram. So on one side you have this, and on the other side of the global world, global India, shining India, you have the homeless, you have the hungry, you have the slums, you have the darkness of rural India too. So this globalization and urbanization, lots of comments on this issues. These issues have been made in the book. Rampant corruption, immoral, unethical system. Now, corruption is the main theme of the novel. It talks about corruption again and again. I think I'd shown you a dialogue that, it's amazing how the moment you show cash, everything happens, So political scams, that comments on political scams and frauds in the distribution system. Adiga makes Balram Halwai says that I've been a very important voter, but I have never seen the inside of a voting booth. So he's talking about rigged elections. About the distribution system, when Balram is in his village, he sees, truckloads of uniforms that come in for the students of the village government school. What does the headmaster do? He just takes it to a village, 3 to 4 villages away, and sells it. The uniforms never reach the students who are studying in the village government school. The image of the village government school is also very, very depressing. You have the teacher who's drunk, and the students are busy, playing. The paint is peeling off, the lizards and frogs in the classroom, and the bottles lying in the corner. Untidy, squalor, condition of the school, corruption. The teachers say that I have not been given my salary, so why should I teach? Once they give my salary, I'll be teaching. Why the salaries don't reach? Sort of it becomes a vicious circle within which such arguments take place. And since, and he says, in one place he says, I'm no Gandhi, that he cannot. And then let me tell you that the image of Gandhi comes again and again in the work. The corruption taking place under the picture or statue of Gandhi. The notes that are taking place have got the images of Gandhi. So this corruption in the police, bribery. There are 2-3 incidents in the novel. Every level there's bribery. When he wants to start his business in Bangalore, there's bribery. He knows that's of course at a very small level, the bribery that his masters are indulging in. Fighting, they're even embroiled in some income tax case, and that income tax case will be solved only if they bribe the officers. So scams and fraud, bribery, all this is there. The condition of government schools and hospitals. I already told you the example of the hospital and the school. You have to read the text actually. It is so vividly described. Vivid description is there. And it is so very, very visual that the moment you read it, you can see it in front of your eyes. Because we are living in this country, we are living in this contemporary India. We can understand what's happening. We can relate. Complete failure of government and governance is another major theme. Complete failure of government infrastructure and machinery. And government institutions serve the rich and the powerful. Whatever the rich want is done. The government, and he keeps on again laughing, that whatever we might not be having sewage system, we might not be having housing, but it does the Chinese premier. In our country, we have democracy. We have democracy. So he makes a mockery of the democracy. The democratically elected leaders, what are they doing? They are serving only the rich and the powerful. But the common man, of course, he's already spoken of the rigged elections. He doesn't know who's going to come to power. He talks about also the number of, lectures and the pamphlets that are distributed everywhere at the time of elections, and what is mentioned over there, what is written over there. Democratic government, but people suffer. Asymmetry of power, ruler and rule. Failure of models of development. That he talks about different models, that these are the systems, but they have not worked. None of the systems have worked. Failure of law and order. Rampant crime, violence, killing, stealing, taking place. Politicization of governance. Even the government is completely politicization. Justice. You talk of justice. He says justice will always delayed. There's so many cases pending. The work is a complete commentary. Balram is very alert to whatever is happening, and he's very vocal. So there's commentary on the justice system as well. Delayed, denied, questioned, and very unfair, not fair. Now another issue that is very important is the failure of culture theories. That the culture theories, now when I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about, it will be about the caste system, the economic class, different groups, so many religions, so many sub-groups within, each sect, so many levels, so many divisions in each sect. And how one group is played against the other. This is taking place. So if culture or a group should be, together, united, no, that is also politicized. And then again, you have culture is not destiny, it's a flexible model. There's a very interesting case in which the other driver, he's a Muslim, but he's poor. So Balram and the other driver have been given a room above the garage, and they share the room. And in one corner, Balram notices that the person with the other driver has kept the pictures of, all the Hindu gods and goddesses. But on certain days, he fasts. He doesn't eat. And then suddenly he catches him, and then he discovers, he follows him and comes to know that he goes to a mosque. So he is a Muslim. Poverty has made him pretend that he is a Hindu to get a job. And the moment Balram comes to know about it, he exposes him and gets him kicked out of the job. So culture also, flexible. Because what is most important is the hunger, which is the economic condition, the poverty. It narrows, exploits, is conservative, and holds captive. That Balram talks about certain characters who are held captive by the group to which they belong, and therefore they are not free. For him, freedom is the main goal. I told you in the earlier lecture that his has to escape from the system. He wants to be free. The scene where he murders his master, the blood spurts onto his face. Violent imagery. The blood spurts on his face, and he says, "I am a free man," because now he has got 7 lakhs with him. He's got the license to move from the darkness to the light and live a different life altogether. I am free. Then you have the politicization of culture, which becomes a divisive force. There are many discordant voices from within groups. Crime and criminality. Rampant crime, living in a country that has got a lot and lot of crime. Top to bottom rung of society in all domains. No controls or checks. But the poor are punished, the rich go scot-free. The rich go scot-free. Cases will be pending, they will never be committed. It is very funny, in one place when he talks about in a very sarcastic manner, he talks about the uh, politician in his region who is contesting elections, and he says that he's got cases for murder and rape and so many other crimes, and he says all minor crimes. He calls them minor, so in sarcastic manner. So the criminals are there, powerful, and society can do nothing about it. So crime and criminality, one of the important concerns addressed in this work. Violence, deeply ingrained. It becomes an animal, predator instinct, for survival. It is for survival. So violence is used either as a weapon or as a shield to protect oneself or as a weapon. Violence for survival and for defense. So there are examples of violence. Of course, the main murder of Ashok Sharma by Balram is the main. And the picture of the scene, where he commits the murder, that is also disturbing. And he does not have any compunctions about it, no compunctions. And even when he says that, when he talks about Ashok Sharma, and he says that, yes, he's such a good person, it's very dual, not to be believed, not to be accepted. Now, other issues are ethics, relativity of ethics. Right or wrong, society is relative. Should not be relative, but it is relative in contemporary India. It talks about the nature of sin, nature of justice, nature of evil. All these areas have been covered in the work. Destiny, carving out one's own destiny. The means, you saying that the means justify the end. He's got his end, whatever be the means, justified. That is what Balram Halwai stands for. And he's representative of many others. How are criminals born? From where they born? What is the ethics? What is the evil? What is the relativity of ethics and sin? All these issues have been dealt with. Not in a very covert manner, no. Adiga has dealt with them in a very open manner, justifying it, talking about it openly. Then you have this animal instincts, because the work is it's a zoo. I always tell my students, the white tiger is a little zoo because you have so many animals over there. And most of them are animals, either animals of prey, predators, or you have reptilians, reptiles, ugly creatures. The only picture of a faded painting in a school of Gautam Buddha has got animals like, I think it's a deer and a bird in that painting. Of course, it is faded. That is the only reference to an animal that is not predatory, not ugly, not harmful. So the animal instincts of survival, predation, are very, very powerfully act in the work. Humans, humanity, and inhumanity. These are again issues. Now let us come to the technique. See, I have dealt with the themes, and then I can say that there are many other things that are there. Lots of other themes might be discovered in the work. Now let us come to the technique, which is again very important. It's a dark vision. It is epistolary because the letters were written to Chinese premier. First person narration, retrospective and introspective narration. Retrospective because through the letters he goes backwards into his life and traces his life right from his birth and when he was a young boy. So retrospective, and introspective because he keeps on looking within himself and arguing and justifying whatever he's doing. It is fast-paced and an engrossing work. The narrative tone is the narrative tone, that means the tone that has been used by Balram Halwai. First person is just talking to you. It is talking to you, you know. Powerful, incisive, belligerent, irreverent. He's got no respect for anything. Bitterly humorous. The humor is bitter, satirical. It is defiant, challenge, and brutal. The atmosphere is dark, depressing, realistic. It is real. That is the most depressing part of it. Simple plot line, because most of the events are revealed through the flashback. The arena of action basically is the mind of the protagonist. Because we get insights through his mind, through his words. Apocalyptic and abysmal vision. It's not happy, not at all a happy vision. So this is part of the technique. Then you have metaphor, darkness and light. I've been talking about it throughout. The rooster coo, the white tiger, symbol of powerful, rare, courageous, predatory. The black fort in his village stands for history, society, causes fear in him. Then this is very important, big bellies. He talks about, he says that big bellies, that people have either big bellies or small bellies. The big bellies are insatiable. They are never ever satisfied. And small bellies represent the poor, the hungry, the starved, who cannot get a square meal a day. Hungry beggars. The picture of, the picture of every crossing in Delhi, where so many beggars come knocking at your window of the car, begging. The picture of beggary is there. So there's starved small bellies. And the image of chandelier is a very strong metaphor. He says that he is now when he's staying in Bangalore, he's got a chandelier even in his bathroom. And he says that the police could not catch him because they were looking for him in the darkness, but he was hiding in light, you know. He was hiding in a room where there was light. Even his bathroom has got a chandelier. And he explains that he had bought it from a person who he could identify was from the darkness, who had hung a number of chandeliers on a tree. Now, this is a very familiar sight. And he got them all loaded onto a bullock cart and brought it, and his home has got chandeliers. His office has also got chandeliers. And because that statement also, that because he was living in the light, he could not be caught by the police because they were looking for him in the darkness. Vehicle. The vehicle becomes this thing because he's becoming a driver. Vehicle is a very important metaphor. It's his dream. It causes movement. You know, metaphorically, his movement from Lakshmangarh to Dhanbad to Gurgaon to Bangalore, starting his own transport business. So vehicle becomes a very strong image that is there. And then it is like you're safe inside it, like as, you know, like in an egg. The beggar might, you know, be knocking, but if your screen is up, you've rolled up the windows, you are unaware, you are safe within an egg. So this Metaphorically, he talks about it. And the vehicle, the car, shelters the rich who is sitting within it. It talks about his condition plus shelters him, protected as within an egg. Imagery, he uses animal imagery. All these are the animals that are inhabiting it. Visual imagery, all colors, detailed descriptions. Therefore, lots of visual imagery. Olfactory imagery has been used. Stench in the life of the poor. Their rooms, the village, the tea shop, the clothes that they wear, everything has got a stench. And Balram feels that the skin, the clothes, the vehicle, the house, everything about the rich is fragrant. It's got a different smell. When he enters the mall, he says it had got the air-conditioned smell of the rich. Then you have clothing imagery. The driver's uniform becomes very important for him. Master's uniform, he looks at it. Then in one particular scene, he dresses up as the Maharaja and serves food to his master. That's a very sweet scene. And entry into the mall with the t-shirt, I have already spoken about it. Then light and darkness imagery throughout. Imagery through names, the landlord's names. I've given you the names in the first when I was speaking about the tale. Then Munna, his own name, just weird, man Munna, you know, any boy will be called Munna. Balram, Ashok Sharma. And then, you know, when he discovers in Bangalore, there are posters looking for him after he has committed a crime. And therefore, he suddenly sees that on the wall, there is a poster with his face on it, you know, wanted. And he looks at it, and there's a gecko. There's a gecko sitting over there and, you know, nodding, and the gecko moves about, and he sees, and he says that things are done in such a slipshod manner that just next to his poster, there are images of a couple of terrorists from Jammu and Kashmir or something. And there's another person who comes to him that, oh, you can, you know, he's impressed that maybe he can read, and asks him that what is there in the poster. And he concocts up a story. Balram concocts up a story. He says that these two are terrorists, and this other one, he points at his own image. He says, and this one is the person who caught the terrorists. And he goes on to say that this person could not recognize him because half the people in the poor, in the darkness, look the same. The clothes that they wear are the same. The material, he talks about the material, the texture of the clothes that they're wearing, the colors that they like to wear, gaudy colors. All those things are there even in the picture, the poster. So you have the clothing imagery even in the poster, the wanted poster that has been set out. So that is the imagery through names. The work has got immense levels of imagery. Apart from the ones that I've covered, there are others also that researcher might find. Now I think I'll be ending my video over here, and we shall meet in part 3 of the lecture, in which the essence of the work, what are the questions that it raises, shall be dealt with. Okay, so let us meet in part 3.